Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Welcome to our program, everybody. We're going to forego the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance today. We're running very, very late because I've been tied up with some emergency stuff here on my end. Folks, it's not been a pleasant day so far, and I want to point out why. During this past weekend, we had a lot of things happen. Okay? One of the last things that happened yesterday morning. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to be with you again. Now you start at 5 p.m. Anyway, guys, welcome to Eastern Standard Time, or Standard Time across the world, not just here in the United States, but around the world. We appreciate each one of you being with us. Friday night, a lot of things happened. Okay? A lot of things happened. A ton of things happened. Okay? The United States was attacked in Washington, D.C. Terrorists were trying to climb over the fence at the Capitol and at the White House during the weekend. They nearly succeeded. The top of the fence, guys, is lined by arrowheads, basically. Very strong iron arrowheads, steel arrowheads. These are not Indian arrowheads, these are steel. The fence line. Once you get near the top, if you get at the top of the fence and you're not careful, you're going to injure yourself very badly. And some of the people did. They got back down on the safe side of the fence. But not before Secret Service retreated. The United States Secret Service retreated from the fence line of the White House. They didn't call in the troops. Nothing was done. This set a bad example for our government. Protection of our government. The government was not protected at all. If these folks had succeeded on getting on the other side of the fence, they would have been at the White House within seconds. Nothing was protecting our capital at all. This is what happens when you have terrorists that come here and try to take over the government. And that's exactly what they have done. Terrorists have come here from Palestine and all over the world to attack the United States of America. All kinds of things happened during the past 72 hours. Our monuments in Lafayette Park were attacked. It's incredible, the damage, the graffiti, all over our monuments. This is another one where the statue had put a hat on of an Islamic terrorist. Someone from Palestine. This is another case where two gentlemen defaced a statue at Lafayette Park. Pro-Palestine force stickers were all over the fence line and all over the monuments, all over Washington, D.C. This is a terrible example of what we have been facing, what we're facing now. Look at this. Another demonstrator terrorist putting an Islamic headdress on the statue of Thomas Jefferson in Lafayette Park. Look at this. Multiple terrorists were all over our monuments. Free Palestine was painted all over our monuments at Lafayette Park and on the sidewalks. It's incredible. Wages World is here in our chat, and I appreciate that, Mark. Thanks for being here. He says, can't stay, guys. Sorry, daughter has a game. God bless. Stay strong. Wages, we appreciate you being here. We are going to be talking about what you were talking about on your channel yesterday. Guys, I'm going to take this down. I was going to talk about this later, but I'm going to talk about it right now. There's been a solar flare. Mark, if you want to call me, I'll put you live on the air, just briefly. There was a solar flare on Friday. There was another one since then, and we have had plasma solar radiation streaming into our planet. The magnetosphere is not up to what it should be. It is weak. The plasma radiation is getting to the Earth's surface. That is one of the reasons we have had earthquakes all over, and there have been very large earthquakes, anywhere from 5.1 all the way up to 6.2, and then over in Chile the other day there was a 7.2, 7.4 quake. It's incredible. Folks, we are going to be having more solar flares. We're going to be having larger earthquakes. As Mark pointed out on his program the other day, these solar flares are going to get large. Why? Because, folks, a year ago we entered the beginning of the increase in solar activity, the solar maximum. We just barely started it last year. By this coming 2024, this next year, we're going to be full-fledged into the solar maximum. This is going to produce larger solar flares, more solar flares, and a possibility of larger earthquakes here around the world as a result of it. There has been a lot of talk about what's going to happen. I'm going to confirm what Mark said. Okay? Get ready. Get ready. This is just the beginning. It really is just the beginning. And I kid you not. When things happen, it's not good. And I don't think anything good is going to happen as a result of it. Okay? We're in the last days. We've been told that this was going to happen. All of the things that are happening are a result of our bad behavior. Okay? I believe that if we had been honest with the Lord, none of this would be happening now. That is not the case. We have well, let me back up. We have 2 aircraft carrier task force in the Mediterranean right now. The USS Eisenhower stormed into the Suez Canal. It's now within striking distance of any of the warring factions that have been causing problems in the Middle East. I don't think it's going to stop. Iran on Saturday called for bloodshed, called for an attack on the United States, and I just showed you pictures of what happened. It was not a peaceful protest. It was a destructive protest. There are pro-Palestinian stickers on all of our fences surrounding the White House and the Capitol building. There are pro-Palestinian stickers and graffiti all over Lafayette Park. And it's going to take chemicals and all kinds of elbow grease to take it down. I don't think it's going to all be taken down. Again, I want to thank Mark Wages for popping in here. He hasn't been in our chat and on our program for a long time, and I would love to have Mark Wages here on our program. Anyway, guys, let's get on with this. I want to show you earthquakes that have happened. Okay? Let me take my banner down here. Okay, folks, what we've got here. Okay, this is a good example of what has happened. This is a 5.5, a mid-range 5.5 magnitude earthquake in the central mid-Atlantic Ocean. Okay, where did it come from? It came from down here in the South Sandwich Islands. Now it's up here. Okay, we have a lot of seismic energy here, and it's going to continue to go up the central mid-Atlantic all the way to Iceland and beyond. Now, if any of that seismic energy creeps off the mid-Atlantic, it could hit here in Africa, it could hit here in Portugal and Spain, it could hit here in England, it could hit here in Canada, northeastern Canada. It could hit here in Greenland. I don't think it will. I believe it's all going to stay on the central mid-Atlantic fault. Or not the central fault, but all the way up here to the North Atlantic fault and beyond. It's going to go beyond. That's not the only large earthquake that we've had today. Let me show you something else. Over here in the Indian Ocean, this is on the, let me show you this. I want to get very clear with this. This is over on the Antarctic fault, the Antarctic ridge. This is southwest from Tanzania. This is southeast of Africa, okay, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean here. This is another large earthquake here. This is a 5.1 earthquake here in the Indian Ocean. Folks, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Just for simple sake, over here in the Nicobar Islands, north of Sumatra, earthquake just happened. It's a moderate 4.5 earthquake here. 4.5 earthquake in the Nicobar Islands here in the Indian Ocean, north of Sumatra. This is another 6.2 mile depth, 10 kilometers deep. Okay? This other earthquake hit earlier, way earlier, okay, this afternoon. This, folks, is another 4.7, 18.8 miles deep. Okay? The peak of northern Sumatra. And again, I want to say this. These are not all the earthquakes that have hit here in Indonesia. This is just a sampling because USGS will never tell us the truth about what's going on. Okay? Let's go over here. Timor-Leste. How many times have we heard the name Timor-Leste here in Indonesia? This is another large 5.2 earthquake. This is 107 kilometers deep. This isn't shallow, but it's not totally deep either. Okay? A 5.2, 107 kilometers deep. Just northeast of there. Here's a 4.5 to all Indonesia. 96 miles deep. This one up here to the north. Sanana, Indonesia. A 4.6, 21 miles deep. 21 miles deep. Okay? Richard Smith says we're seeing major seismicity in Europe. You're right. You're absolutely right. Okay? The sad thing is they're not showing it. They're showing this earthquake over here near Nepal. Okay? This is a 5.3 today. Just a few days ago we had a 5.6 here and it killed 95 people within the first 24 hours. I don't have an updated death toll here, but this is increasing rapidly. 5.3 earthquake today in Nepal, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Northwest of there, this is Kashgar, China. Kashgar, China. North of Tajikistan and Afghanistan. This is a moderate 4.7, also 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep here. Look here in Europe. They're not showing us anything, but there's been a major seismic increase here all over Europe. Literally. Hundreds of earthquakes all over Europe. USGS says nothing. Okay? Richard Smith is talking about a 3.8 over here near Puerto Rico. It's not the only one, guys. It's not the only one. This one here is over in the Mona Passage. It just happened. It's over near the Dominican Republic in the Mona Passage. This is a 3.8 earthquake. 3.8 earthquake, 43 miles deep. Over here, folks, this happened last night, just before 9:30 last night. This is a 3.8 here, also in the Mona Passage. So now we have two 3.8 earthquakes. These are considered to be small. 3.0, 3.9 are considered to be small. Okay? Over here in Puerto Rico, again, southwestern Puerto Rico, this is a small 3.0 here. Okay? These are aftershocks of a earthquake two earthquakes that happened here 4 years ago. An 8.0 December 26th and an 8.4 on December 28th. Man-made earthquakes. We talked about this last week. I'm not going to go into depth on where those man-made earthquakes came from, but they were man-made. And they destroyed buildings, they destroyed homes, they killed and injured people here in Puerto Rico because people decided to play around with Mother Nature. Hundreds of earthquakes later, thousands of earthquakes later, we're still getting earthquakes. Every time we have a major earthquake, you can guarantee that the aftershocks will keep coming for years afterwards. In this case, 2 8s here within 48 hours. We're still getting these aftershocks 4 years later. That one here is a 3.0, 9.7 miles deep. This one here is a 2.4, 6.7 miles deep, just over 10 kilometers deep. This one here just off the coast here is a 1.8 tremor. This is also 10 miles deep. These over here to the central eastern part of Puerto Rico here. I don't believe anyway that these two earthquakes have anything to do with the major earthquakes here 4 years ago. These are new earthquakes. This is a 2.3, 5 miles deep. Right next to it is a 2.4. Both of these earthquakes are near Central Aguirre, Puerto Rico. This is 11 miles deep here. 11 miles deep. Just to the northwest side of Puerto Rico here. This is a 2.7. 8.8 miles deep. Huge. Huge. Oh, I want to tell you about this too before we leave. This is Venezuela. Look where it's at. It's a 4.5 earthquake, but look where it's at. Again, 6.2 miles deep. Look where it's at. It's on the Cayman Ridge here, guys. It's on the Cayman Ridge. Let's show you, let's go back here I'm going to zoom out here and go over to the Cayman Ridge here in Central America. The Cayman Ridge originates over here by Guatemala. It travels the Caribbean over here. It goes north towards the Cayman Ridge or Cayman Islands here, and then proceeds eastbound just south of the Cayman Islands. It goes east and skirts the perimeter, the southern perimeter of Cuba. It goes north of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Also here, it goes north of Jamaica here. Then it goes and skims the southern end of Cuba, goes north of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and continues east over Puerto Rico, over the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, then continues out here and heads south. It makes an abrupt southwestern turn over here and goes out past the Leeward Islands here, and continues south until it gets over towards Venezuela. Then it makes another abrupt western turn here and goes over here into Venezuela. This earthquake here originated in Central America about 2 weeks ago. Now it's here. It's a 4.5 earthquake, 6.2 miles deep. Okay? That's how this earthquake originated. Now, while we're talking about it, I want to back up here. Look what they're showing us here. Almost nothing here in South America. This is ridiculous. There are over 20 earthquakes here in South America. They show us 2. Okay? The southernmost one is near Valparaiso, Chile. It's another large earthquake. This is a 5.2 earthquake, 18 miles deep. Okay? 21 miles west of Valparaiso, Chile. Okay? What do we know about Valparaiso, Chile? Valparaiso, Chile is the capital of Chile, isn't it? This earthquake was just 20 miles away from Valparaiso, Chile. It's also out here in the ocean, just barely off the coast. And I'm going to say just barely, because I don't believe that this large energy was not felt on land. I believe that some part of this large energy was felt on land. This is probably not more than 4 or 5 miles off the coast. Okay? Some part of this energy was felt in Valparaiso. Okay? I don't have any figures, but I believe we've had a decent sized earthquake here. Okay? Then north here. Okay? Like I said, this is ridiculous that they would even think of just showing 2 earthquakes here in South America. This earthquake here, Alenzana, Christiana, Peru. Alenzana, Christiana, Peru. Okay, this is over in the farmlands of Peru. Okay, a 4.3 earthquake here. Again, 6.2 miles deep. I believe it was probably larger than that. Okay? I believe it was maybe larger than that. I also believe it was deeper than that. Okay? We go over here to Central America. They're showing 1 earthquake. There's about a dozen earthquakes here in Central America today. This one is just off the coast of Guatemala today. Southern Guatemala. This is a 4.1 moderate earthquake, 54 miles deep. Okay? Let's go over to another swarm of earthquakes. The swarm has not stopped over here in southwestern Texas. Hasn't stopped at all. Look at the earthquakes here. Okay? Let's start over here to the east. This is still western Texas, Stanton, Texas. A 1.7 tremor here. This is Mentone, Texas. 1.7, a tremor. 2.7 miles deep. All of these earthquakes are in oil and gas operating fields. Okay? We go over here to southwestern Texas here. Okay? This is a 2.8. Right off the bat here, I'm showing you oil and gas fields here. Oil and gas fields all over here. That's a 2.8. This one is also a 2.8. We go south, a 1.5 tremor here. Okay? Look at this. Further south. This is a 2.6. This is a 1.7. These are all in oil and gas fields. These are oil and gas quakes here. Each and every one of them are oil and gas quakes. We've been experiencing swarms of earthquakes here during the past week. It's continuing. What do we know about swarms of earthquakes, guys? What do we know about swarms? When we get swarms, that usually leads to a larger quake, doesn't it? I believe we're going to have a larger quake very soon, possibly before the end of the week. And I believe it's going to be a 5.0. Okay? It's going to be at least a strong 4.7, but I believe it's going to be a 5.0 earthquake. Okay? It's not happening. It's not slowing down. This is a 1.7 also here in western Texas, and here is also 1.6, 3 miles deep. Okay? That's what you get when you drill. Drill points aching to go, literally. Down here to the south in California, things are happening here. Here's a 1.9, 2.0 magnitude earthquake in Bombay Beach, Imperial Valley. Just underwater here from Bombay Beach in the Salton Sea. A 2.0 earthquake. Further over here, this is out in the desert west of Westmoreland, California. This is also 1.0 tremor. Up here to the top of the Chocolate Mountains, this is 1.1 tremor here. Ocotillo Wells, now we're at the top of the mountains here, another 2.0 earthquake, 4.5 miles deep. Okay? This is the earthquake fault here. Okay? On the west side, we have the Elsinore. Over here on this side of the mountains, we have the San Jacinto fault. San Jacinto fault. This one here on the Elsinore, it's in Julian, California. A 0.8 microquake. 9.7 miles deep. Okay? Over here, okay, this is La Quinta, California. This is in the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. A 0.4 microquake. Here is a 1.2 tremor, also in the Anza-Borrego Desert. Over here in the Anza Gap here, Idlewild, California, 0.7. I'm just going to touch on a couple of these. Here's a 0.7 also in the Anza Gap area. Okay? We go north. Valley Vista, also in the Anza Gap area, 0.6. We go north here. Moreno Valley. Okay? Now we're out in the desert areas of Orange County, California. We go north and east. Yucaipa got hit today. A 2.3 earthquake. 0.7 miles deep. This one is on the what? The San Andreas Fault. the San Andreas Fault. Okay? Over here in the Los Angeles area, La Habra. La Habra, a 1.1 tremor here, 4.4 miles deep. Okay? It's on the Newport-Inglewood Fault. Newport-Inglewood Fault here, guys. And there's probably a dozen other associated faults here in the Los Angeles area. Okay? It's all going. It's all going. Okay? Now I'm working my way up north here. There's a reason. I want to talk to you about the Pacific Northwest tonight. We go north. San Simeon, California. There have been numerous quakes here. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake here. This is 2.3 miles deep. San Simeon, California. We move over here again to the San Andreas. This is the earthquake capital of California, Parkfield, California. This is a 1.1 tremor, 6 miles deep on the San Andreas Fault. We go north. The Pinnacles here. The Pinnacles. This is on the San Andreas Fault, but you also need to know this is an oil and gas pumping operation as well. Okay? This is a 1.6. This is a 1.9. And this is a 0.9, all on the San Andreas Fault here. Okay? Let's go north and east just for kicks and giggles here. This is way east of Monterey Bay. Los Banos, California. A 2.4 earthquake, 6 miles deep. Let's go just southeast of San Francisco Bay. This is Milpitas, California. This is the Hayward Fault. The Hayward Fault. The San Andreas Fault is over here on the west side of San Francisco Bay. Where this earthquake is the Hayward. And just east of there is the Calaveras Fault. 3 of the most dangerous faults in the world are right here in the San Francisco Bay area. And we have a Hayward Fault earthquake, 1.7 tremor. We go north, San Francisco Bay. Okay? Look at this. This is Venetia, California. I'm going to zoom in here. I think you want to see what's here. Okay? Venetia, California, a 1.6 tremor here. San Francisco Bay. What's here? This is a quarry right alongside the San Francisco Bay. I have no idea why they dug a quarry right next to San Francisco Bay. This whole area could collapse. So far it has not, but it could collapse. It's right here in San Francisco Bay, my gosh. And we continue to have earthquakes here about every 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 months, I should say. About every 2 or 3 months. Okay? And again, this is a 1.6 tremor here at the quarry, Venetia, California, San Francisco Bay. Okay? Let's go north. Okay? Up here. This is Inverness, California. Inverness, California. A very upscale part of California. This is a 0.9, 1.0 tremor here. Okay? Also, what do we have here? What do we have here? It's also the San Andreas Fault. That other swarm of earthquakes you see here is in the geysers. We've talked about the geysers before. The geysers are a geothermal area where man has dug into that lake there, which is an actual volcano. Clear Lake volcano. Man has dug into the upper magma chambers of the volcano to obtain steam to power turbines here at the geothermal plant to generate electricity for California Gas and Electric and 3 or 4 other conglomerates, including Rocky Mountain Power that I used to pull power from when I was in Utah. Okay? Crazy, huh? We go north here. This time it's not on the San Andreas Fault. This is east of the fault. This is Boonville, California. I believe this is part of the Oceana Fault. I'm not really sure exactly, but I think this is part of the Oceana Fault here. 1.7 tremor here. This happens to be 3.8 miles deep. Okay? Then we come up here to the southern end of the Cascadia subduction region. The Cascadia subduction zone region. Folks, this happens to be a good-sized quake. It's a 2.5 minor earthquake. A 2.5 magnitude minor earthquake. 15.5 miles deep. Okay? It's in the subduction zone region, guys. This is part of the whole Cascadia system. Okay? This is probably an aftershock of a 6.8 earthquake, and I believe it was a lot larger than that, upwards of a 7.0, 8.0 earthquake here earlier this past year. Okay? That happened there. Then we go up here into the Cascade Mountain region. Okay? We don't show any earthquakes around Shasta and Lassen. I'm going to show you a lot of different seismic signals coming from the southern Cascadia system. But I want to talk about this first. Okay? Over here, it's a 1.0 tremor here. USGS has this in Oregon, don't they? Okay? They haven't given it a name of a town. All they said, it's in Oregon. 1.0 tremor in Oregon. Well, fancy you that. Fancy you that. Okay? They don't show anything at all at Mount Hood. They don't show you anything over here in Belknap Craters or Sisters Volcanoes. Not a thing. I'm telling you, there's earthquakes there. Okay? Mount Hood. They're not showing us anything going on here at Mount Hood. What a crock. Okay? What a cotton picking crock. Nothing going on at Mount Hood. Mount St. Helens is a different story. Okay? They actually have to be talking about Mount St. Helens. I'm going to explain that in just a minute. This is a zero, they say this is a 0.0 surface quake here. Folks, this is 2.3 miles deep again. This is just right down the smack down the center of Mount St. Helens magma chamber here. This is not a 0.0 surface quake. Okay? I'm actually going to show you earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens. Okay? I'm going to show you a lot more than that. Okay? We go up here. Washington. Quilcene, Washington. We have a 1.3 tremor here. This is 12.2 miles deep. 12.2 miles deep. This is in the Puget Sound area. This is in the greater Puget Sound area here. Okay? A 1.3 tremor here. Okay? That's what's happening. Just for kicks and giggles, this is Alaska. There have been plenty of small and minor earthquakes and tremors all over southern Alaska. The largest over here, Larsen Bay. Larsen Bay. It's a 4.1 moderate earthquake here. This is 31 miles deep here. Kodiak Island, Larsen Bay. Okay? This is a 3.6 over here on the Aleutian Island Fault. Okay? Further south. This is right off of Sandpoint, Alaska, guys. Okay? This is 41.7 miles deep. Okay? It's just a 2.7 minor earthquake. 47 miles deep here. Isn't that interesting? Okay? We come up here to Kodiak again. Okay? A 4.1 earthquake. This was felt. This is felt. People live on Kodiak Island. Okay? This is a 3.9. Okay? They say this is 9 miles east of Karluk, Alaska. No, it's on Kodiak Island. Kodiak Island. Karluk is way out here. Way out here. Guess what? Out here is Old Ililama Volcano. Old Ililama Volcano, not Karluk. This is 1.2. 1.2 tremor here. Old Ililama Volcano. We go further north. Okay? They have this listed here as Kodiak Island. It's nowhere near Kodiak Island. Kodiak Island is out here. That's Kodiak. This is a volcano. We have another swarm of earthquakes at a volcano, guys. 1.8, 2.3, 2.0 at a volcano. Not Kodiak Island. This is not anywhere near Kodiak Island. Okay? Isn't it interesting how they will put something out here and know that they're wrong? They'll know that they're wrong. Just for kicks and giggles, this is over here on the northwestern side or southwestern side of Denali National Park. They're saying this is 39 miles south of Denali. No, it's here on the border of the southern part of Denali National Park. It's a 1.9 tremor, by the way. It just hit here. Just barely hit here. We have an earthquake up here in central Alaska. This is a 1.4 tremor, Stevens Village, near Stevens Village. 14.9 miles deep. Okay? 15 miles deep. Back over here to the Pacific Northwest. Let's get out of here. I want to show you seismograms from this area. Why? Because, folks, it's a bigger issue than what they're painting it. Okay? Today, I want to start a little bit different than I normally would. I'm not going up to Mount Baker. I'm not going over to anything but Mount Rainier. I want to show you Mount Rainier. Okay? Look at this. Look at this signal. Folks, this is a unique signal today at Mount Rainier. No, this is not an earthquake. This is a magma churn signal. This is one of the most unique magma churn signals that I've ever seen. It looks like a very tiny rectangle. It almost looks like an earthquake, but it's not an earthquake. This is a magma churn signal. This is what happens when we get superheated magma at a volcano. Magma churn signals are typically 23 to 24 lines tall. Let's look at this. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 lines high. 16 lines high. Why am I showing it to you? Because, folks, we have always seen magma churn signals at 7 lines high at the largest. I shouldn't say that. 9 lines high at the largest. This is 16 lines high. What does that mean? Folks, this particular seismogram, and folks, this happens to be at Camp Sherman on the north side of the summit of Mount Rainier. Okay? This means that this particular seismogram is 80% of real world. We are probably looking at a seismogram like we've never seen one before. Look at the activity here. Look at the tremors here. If you see a little tiny vertical line with a dot in it, that is a tremor. If you see a vertical line without a dot in it, that is a steam signal. Okay? You see earthquakes here. Over here at the top of this thing. Okay? The top line here is 5 p.m. yesterday, Sunday afternoon. 5 p.m. Sunday afternoon. This particular earthquake you see in blue here. Okay? This one happened just after 6:01, 6:02 p.m. Okay? This is a 2.4 earthquake. A magnitude 2.4 minor earthquake here. Look at all these tremors and quakes here. Okay? Those lines that you see out to the side on the lower part of that magma churn signal, that is steam resonating from Mount St. Helens today. Okay? Steam coming from Mount St. Helens. But we have all these tremors all over the seismogram. For the first time, we see a magma churn signal that's showing us that this seismogram is 84% of real world. That's new. That's new. Rob says tonight, I hope Ron will talk about Southern California, and just did. Okay? There's a lot going on in Southern California. Okay? This is Mount Rainier, guys. A lot of earthquakes are happening here at Mount Rainier. Now I'm here at Mount Rainier. I want to show you something else. Earlier today, we had a sunrise at Mount Rainier. Look at that. Look at this beautiful sunrise at Mount Rainier. Look at that light-colored cloud near the summit of Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is steaming. Mount Rainier is steaming there. That's probably one of the most beautiful sunrise pictures I've seen of Mount Rainier in my life. Okay? Incredible. Just incredible. Let's go back over here. I want to show you some seismograms here from Mount Rainier, and then we're going to go to Mount St. Helens, and I'm going to explain what's going on at Mount St. Helens. Because we got a bunch of news yesterday morning about Mount St. Helens that I've known about for quite some time, because we have been monitoring the activity at Mount St. Helens. Okay? That's why we know all about what's going on at St. Helens. Okay? Mount Rainier here. This is Camp Muir. Camp Muir. This is the southern side near the summit of Mount St. Helens. Look what's going on here. Okay? I'm going to reduce this inside just a little bit. There's an awful lot of activity here at Mount St. Helens. Look at all this. Tremors. Each individual horizontal line here is 15 minutes long. It amounts to 15 minutes of recorded time. This seismogram was started coming in here at 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Notice each individual line. Okay? Each individual line is either starts out small and gets thicker and then gets thinner again, or it starts out thin and gets thicker again and gets thinner. Okay? That is magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. Okay? Look what we're seeing here. We're seeing a lot of magma pulse signals, and we're seeing a lot of tremors here. A lot of tremors. Then what happens here this morning into this afternoon? Look at a lot of this activity. Look at all that magma here. Okay? I'm telling you guys, judging by what we've seen here at Mount Rainier, it could be said that Mount Rainier is getting ready to erupt. 2 weeks ago, we showed you a 5.0, maybe 5.2 earthquake here at Mount Rainier. They did not put it on the USGS map. They did not talk about it. It was a felt earthquake. A felt earthquake here at Mount Rainier. Usually when we have an eruption, that eruption is a 5.0 large earthquake or larger. It's at least a 5.0 earthquake. We already had a 5.0 earthquake here at Mount Rainier. Folks, you see all this activity. Folks, this is a lot of magma activity at Mount Rainier, and you're seeing quakes, and you're also seeing tremors here at Mount Rainier here. Okay? I've shown you Camp Muir. I showed you Camp Sherman. Now, folks, I'm going to show you two more seismographs. This one's at source of Smith Creek. This is Mount St. Helens. Folks, yesterday it came out that USGS has said that Mount St. Helens could erupt at any time. They have raised the alert level at Mount St. Helens. The alert level at Mount St. Helens is now yellow. It's yellow. A week and a half ago, USGS came out and admitted that they have had 150 earthquakes within a month here at Mount St. Helens. It's continuing to grow in seismicity. More and more earthquakes and larger earthquakes and tremors as well. Look what we have here. This proves what is going on here at Mount St. Helens. Look at all these tremors here at Mount St. Helens. Yesterday afternoon, last night, and this afternoon here. That's a lot of seismic activity because there's magma coming into the volcano. There's a lot of magma coming into Mount St. Helens. Let me show you something else. I want to use September lobe. This is a seismogram from September lobe. This is coming from a seismograph that is a 5-channel seismograph. This particular channel shows you magma coming into the volcano here, specifically magma. It's showing you the VOF waves caused by magma coming into Mount St. Helens. The top of this is very typical of what we saw on that other seismogram. A lot of seismic activity caused by the magma. In this particular seismogram here at the top, that is a lot of magmatic activity at Mount St. Helens, corresponding with the seismic activity that showed up on that other seismogram, doesn't it? And what's here below here at the bottom? The same kind of activity that was at the top. A lot of VLF waves here caused by magma entering the magma chamber of Mount St. Helens. It could erupt. They raised the alert level here at Mount St. Helens. This could erupt. We may see an eruption at any time here at Mount St. Helens. This is Studebaker. This is Studebaker Ridge. The same thing here. This is just barely north of Mount St. Helens, Studebaker Ridge. Look at all this magma activity here. Look at the earthquakes. That is incredible activity here at Mount St. Helens, guys. That's incredible activity. Not to be outdone. Let me show you Sugar Bowl at Mount St. Helens, this time from the USGS. The other one was from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Look at this. This is incredible activity here. Look at the magma pulse signals here. The magma pulse signals are almost obliterating some of the white paper that the seismogram has here. Look at all that magma. And folks, look at this earthquake that happened last night. Okay? This earthquake happened at about 12:41 a.m. this morning. Look at that earthquake up here at the top right center. About 12:41 a.m. this morning, we get this earthquake. This is close to a 3.0 earthquake. 3.9, a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. That's big time. That's big time. Okay? You can see all this magma here continuing to come into the volcano. Then it calms down. It stayed calmed down from just after 6:30 this morning. Just after 6:30 this morning until later. Okay? All we get is a little bit of earthquakes and magma churn or magma pulse signals here. Nothing like what it was last night. Okay? What an incredible difference. It went from this to almost nothing. Unreal, guys. Unreal. 6:30 this morning to almost nothing the rest of the day. Okay? I want to show you that. Does anybody have any questions so far? Spinderella is saying here in the chat. Spinderella 360 saying here in the chat. Incoming geomagnetic storm could agitate this condition at Mount St. Helens. You're right. It could. It could agitate it at Mount Rainier. It could agitate it at any of the volcanoes. But these two volcanoes, Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens, are close to erupting. Regardless of what USGS says about Rainier, it has just as much activity as Mount St. Helens does. It has just as much activity as Mount St. Helens does. Okay? It's been showing activity for a very long time. A very, very long time. Let's drop south to Mount Hood. Okay? At Mount Hood, we don't see hardly anything happening for a good 3/4 of the day since last night. Okay? This seismogram here started just before midnight. Just before midnight. All you can see here is some magma pulse activity, or pulse magma activity. Okay? You can see thinner lines that get thicker and get thinner here. Now the seismogram here has been turned down. That's why these lines are not very thick at all. Okay? The seismograph has been turned way down. Then we come to this afternoon. The seismograph gets turned up a bit. Look what we have. Look at this activity this afternoon into this evening. This is one of the reasons that I was a little bit late coming on the air. I wanted to show you this. Okay? Folks, this is Barrett Spur at Mount Hood. This is Barrett Spur at Mount Hood, on the north side of Mount Hood. Now, Mount Hood does not have as much activity as the others. Fact of the matter is, they have very little. Mount Hood has very little activity at all. One more here. This is Tom, Dick, and Harry. This is a seismogram I picked up off the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Tom, Dick, and Harry is just north of Mount Rainier. I'm sorry, Mount Hood. Where did Mount Rainier come in? Okay? Tom, Dick, and Harry is on the north side of Mount Hood. This particular seismograph is a multi-channel seismograph. We're able to see the magma coming into Mount Hood here. Okay? The VLF signals here. Okay? Yet last night, yesterday evening and last night, look what we have here. It shows some movement of magma into Mount Hood. Then, this afternoon, the magma increases. It increases almost to a frenzy, as we saw at Mount St. Helens. And that's what you saw on that other seismogram here at Mount Hood. Okay? Yes, Mount Hood is active. Regardless of what these clowns at USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network say, Mount Hood is active. They can show us crap, but we have a way around it to show what is really going on. Unless they shut off the seismograph, which they do on a regular basis. Today I saw several seismographs that have been shut down. When that usually happens, we get a memo or a picture that says no photo available on the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. And USGS, it shows nothing. It shows no activity at all. Okay? That's what happens. Now I want to go south here. Okay? I want to go south. There is some other activity that you ought to know about. I want to show you Newberry Volcano. We're going to go south. Okay? Last week I showed you for the first time in at least 2 years activity at Bachelor Volcano. Now they shut off Bachelor Volcano. There's absolutely no picture, no seismogram, no nothing. They shut off Bachelor Volcano. But folks, here I've got this. This is south of Bachelor. This is Newberry Volcano. This is the USGS seismogram. Look at this. Again, this, folks, starts off at midnight last night. Goes on through the morning. You're seeing some seismic activity, some magma coming into this volcano. Okay, Newberry Volcano. Then it gets less and less. Then what happens here? What happens here? Okay? Folks, this gets to be so dadgum interesting. Up here we had last night very little activity. We had very little activity at all this morning. But this afternoon, Newberry Volcano kicked into gear. There's a lot of magma going into this volcano here. Look what happened this evening. That is a lot of magma going into Newberry Volcano. Almost completely shutting off the paper. By shutting off, I mean covering the paper that the seismogram's on. Okay? Newberry Volcano. Now, let's take a look at Sisters Volcano, south of there. Come on. There we go. This is Sisters Volcano. The top of this is the same thing. It's quiet. It's quiet. It starts off at just before, well, just about 11 p.m. last night. Just about 11 p.m. last night. Yes, we have some activity. This seismogram, folks, has been turned way down. The seismograph was turned way down, and as a result, the seismogram is not showing a whole lot. Until late this morning. All of a sudden we have activity. All of a sudden we have activity. The magma's coming into this volcano. It's causing tremors. It's causing rock fracturing inside the volcano here. Look at this. Look at these images here. What you need to know is this seismogram covers 3 volcanoes. Excuse me, I'm sorry to cough in your ear. Folks, the seismogram here, the seismograph, covers 3 volcanoes. Sisters North, Sisters Central, and Sisters South. 3 separate volcanoes here. A 3 volcano complex here at Sisters Volcano. What you're seeing here is a lot of activity still. If this is happening at all 3 of these volcanoes, look out. This could become the next Mount St. Helens. They have not upped the alert level here at Sisters. They did up the alert level about a year ago. But it is the same as it has been for a long time now. It's just an alert level green. Nothing big going on. But this activity here could deem a change if this continues. Okay? Sisters Volcano. Let's go down to South Central Oregon. South Central Oregon. What are we going to show you at South Central Oregon? Crater Lake. Crater Lake. Crater Lake is a rather large volcano, the top of which is a huge lake. A huge lake. When the volcano last erupted. When the volcano last erupted, it left a caldera deep inside the rim of the crater. That caldera is filled with water. It's now an alpine lake, a very, very cold lake. Okay? But you can see here at the top of this seismograph, okay? This is Crater Lake, Cleetwood Cove seismograph. This seismograph is located over on the northeast side of Crater Lake. Okay? We're seeing some magma pulse signals. So we know that magma is coming in and feeding this volcano. Okay? Then, what happens here? What happens here, guys? This activity here starts off about noon today. Okay? A lot more magma pouring into this volcano, huh? Look at that. Crater Lake is very active, isn't it? The volcano is very active. It's huge. It's huge. We've seen a lot more activity than this at Crater Lake before. Let me show you another seismograph showing a seismogram at the southeast side of Crater Lake. This is Mount Scott. Crater Lake, Mount Scott. Okay? Now, if a seismogram wanted to show what's going on, they would record it. Well, folks, both of these seismographs that record these seismograms are turned down a bit. Turned down a lot. Or we would see thicker lines here. But the seismograph is turned down. The magma is forcing its way up into the volcano. And in doing so, massive amounts of magma are forcing the seismograph to record what's going on, regardless of what it's turned down to. Okay? Look at that. It's literally all night and all day long. Look what happens today at noon. Just like the other seismogram. It's recording magma coming into the magma chamber of this volcano. It's showing rock fracturing, tremors and minor earthquakes here. Rock fracturing here at Crater Lake. As wild as it seems, all these volcanoes have something up. They have something up. They're showing a lot of magma coming into these volcanoes. Now, folks, I have a seismogram for the first time in weeks at Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta. They've been hiding information. They've been turning off the seismographs all around the volcano. There's 13 seismographs around Mount Shasta. There's only one recording sufficient data. Okay? Only one recording sufficient data. Look at this. Look at that. This is over on the western side of the volcano, the southwestern side of the volcano. It's the only seismograph that is active at Mount Shasta. 13 seismographs, only one is recording data. That's what's sad. Okay? This seismograph started recording data just after 3 p.m. yesterday. Look at that. all kinds of magma coming into Mount Shasta. Look at this. 1 o'clock in the morning. Then it gets quiet for a few hours. Then it starts picking up again. And gets quiet the rest of the day. Okay? But at least we have a look at Mount Shasta and what's going on here. It's the first time we've had any real data coming out of Mount Shasta at all, because they've hidden the information, turned off the seismographs. Okay? Then let's go down to Mount Lassen. Let's take a look at Mount Lassen, guys. Look at this. I believe we have 3 seismographs here to show you. This is the most active at Mount Lassen. Several of you live over here in this neck of the woods. A couple of you live up near Mount Shasta. You probably have felt the seismograph rattle, or excuse me, not the seismograph, but the earthquakes rumbling under your feet. Felt the earthquakes rumbling under your feet. Look what's going on. Okay? This seismograph started recording data just after 3 p.m. yesterday. 1,500 hours on the left-hand side on the top. It says 1,500 hours. 1530. 1530 is 3:30 p.m. Just so you know. So just after 3 o'clock it shows activity. Okay? Then we have this earthquake here. This appears to be a 2.4 earthquake. A 2.4 earthquake. It lasted a while too. It's thick. It's thick. The reason it's thick is because the time the earth shook. The amount of time that the earth shook. Several seconds, probably 10 seconds. Okay? Then out to the right side. You can see a very small triangle out to the right side. This would signify that yes, this was a minor earthquake. Not a big deal. If we see larger triangles, that would be a larger earthquake as well. But this is just maybe a 2.3, 2.4 earthquake. We have a lot of other tremors here as well. Look what happens here. You see a lot of earthquakes because you see a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber. Okay, the magma pulse signals are showing you a massive amount of magma coming into the magma chamber. Even though the seismograph has been turned down some, you still see the magma coming through and making its way and presence known. We also see some earthquakes here as well. Look at these earthquakes here. Okay? Let me enlarge this so you can see what's going on. Okay? All that magma is coming in. That's causing earthquakes. Look at these decent-sized earthquakes here this morning. By decent. Over here on the left, you see a large earthquake there. A 3.0 earthquake. A small 3.0 earthquake here at Mount Lassen. Okay, you see some 2.5, 2.6s, 2.7 earthquakes here. In the center right here, you see an earthquake here that lasts a little while. It's thicker than the others. Okay? A 2.4 earthquake here again. Minor earthquake. And off to the right of that, probably another 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. Look at these earthquakes off and on here. Tremors and earthquakes all over Mount Lassen here. Folks, this is a lot of activity in North California. This is a ton of activity here in Northern California. Do we have anyone here from North California? The reason I'm asking to find out whether you have felt seismic activity if you live over here near Mount Lassen. Okay? I want to find out what's going on. You tell me all the time. I get emails, I get text messages saying, Ron, look here. I'm over here near Mount Lassen. I feel movement under my feet. I feel my house creak. My dogs and cats are running around like they've got their heads cut off. They're scared. That's what kind of stuff happens when these earthquakes get going at these volcanoes. The magma is fracturing the rock inside the volcano, causing these earthquakes and tremors. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. Now, Lassen is the southernmost volcano in the Cascade Mountain Range. The southernmost volcano in the Cascade Mountain Range. Okay? Now, what do we expect to see from the Cascade Mountain Range? Okay? What are we expecting to see from the Cascade Mountain Range? We have talked a lot about the Cascade Mountain volcanoes. From just north of the Canadian border to all the way down here into Northern California. What have we seen happen? What have we been talking about this whole time for the past maybe 4 years? We've been talking about possibly having a volcanic eruption that would possibly signal a Cascade earthquake, a Cascadia earthquake off the coast of northern Washington. I believe it could still happen. I believe it can still happen, and it will. We're seeing earthquakes off the coast of Vancouver Island. We're seeing earthquakes between Queen Charlotte Island and Vancouver Island. We see earthquakes down along the coast of Oregon and Northern California. It's coming. It's coming. We've seen a lot of large earthquakes happening in southeastern Alaska. Okay, we saw 5.1 over near Mount Siskind volcano. There's another volcano there as well. A lot of seismic activity going on there as well. I believe all this seismic activity that's coming from over in Indonesia is working its way up through the Western Pacific. Taiwan, Japan, up around Kamchatka Peninsula, through the Aleutian Island corridor, into Alaska, and then over into southeastern Alaska and down the coast of North America. We're seeing a lot of activity. Are we going to have the Cascadia earthquake? I believe it is. It's coming. I don't think it's coming anytime soon. I mean, not in days or months. I believe it's probably another year or two out. I believe. I could be wrong. But all this activity that we're seeing points to that whole area being active. Now, after the last Cascadia megathrust earthquake happened, there was a sailor out to sea on a boat. A great big boat. He wrote in his ship's log that when the Cascadia earthquake happened, he saw either Glacier Peak, or Mount Rainier erupting. We've had 2 eruptions of Mount St. Helens. One in 1980 and another one I believe was in 2003 or 2004, which was a minor eruption. I've seen a major eruption in 1980. Folks, I think Mount St. Helens is gearing up for a good sized eruption again. This could be a tipping point. This could be a tipping point. Why am I talking about it? I want everybody to be ready. I want you all to be prepared. We've been talking a lot about emergency preparedness as of late. The reason? Some of it politics. Some of it naturally occurring events. Hurricanes and tornadoes. Storms of all kinds. Politics going bad. This past weekend, we've had terrorists attacking the capital of the United States. We've seen Palestinian protests all over Europe, from London to Germany to Switzerland. We've seen protests in Australia, literally all over the world. We've seen protests in Sweden. We've seen the Islamic Republic burning down entire apartment complexes in Sweden, in southeastern Sweden, in Malmö, Sweden, and going up into Stockholm as well. All over, guys. It's very bad. It's very bad. What are we looking at? What are we looking at? We're looking at a time when everything has gone against the majority of the population. We've heard rumors of wars. We've heard rumors, and we've seen violent takeovers of towns, cities, and now the country of the United States of America. We've seen it. What do you and I need to do? My buddy Don Patokas here. Bless your heart, Don. Thank you so much for being with us. Don has put up multiple paragraphs of things that we need to be doing, and he's putting up here in the chat. I would urge each of you, after this program is over, to go through the chat and take notes of what Don has put up here. Being prepared is much more than just having a supply of stuff. Be in tune through prayer with Heavenly Father. Listen for the still small voice of guidance, as each of us are unique in circumstances. Your immediate safety and well-being is incumbent upon you and in your hands. Few can or will be coming to spare you. You need to be prepared on your own. Prepared, you and your family. Only you and you alone can stand accountable for your safety and well-being. Don also has talked about prior prayer, proactive, proper preparation prevents poor performance. It's all true. God only asks that we do what, when, and where we can. But we need to make a commitment and do our best, so He will include us in the rest. God will only help those that help themselves. regardless of what anybody else tells you. God will only help those who help themselves, who are mentally, physically, and spiritually prepared. Don has also said here at the end of this, safety is relative. There truly is no safe place, such as safer. You must have full situational awareness, as things will change quickly. Plan for the worst, pray for the best, and be grateful when you have it. Be grateful for what you have. Now, in Hebrews chapter 12, we began studying Hebrews yesterday in our Sunday school class. In Hebrews chapter 12, verse 13, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. Follow peace with all men, and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Looking diligently lest any man fall of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, thereby many be denied. Folks, Paul is talking to the Hebrews here. He's talking mostly to the Jews. However, I believe the Lord is also talking to us. This is all about being prepared, brothers and sisters. This is about each one of us being prepared. Okay? We need to be ready. We need to be ready. We need to be ready. What have we been doing to be prepared? What have we been doing? Brothers and sisters, it's up to us. We have the trilogy of holidays coming upon us very quickly now. The trilogy of the holidays I think of as Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. We need to be thankful for what we have. We need to be thankful for what our families have. Be thankful for each one of our members of our family. That is the most important. Being thankful, praising God for what we have, and thanking Him. We need to be thinking about this constantly. Then we have the second of the holidays, one of the most sacred times of the year, Christmas. Brothers and sisters, I would urge you this Christmas two things. One, make sure you are with the program. Make sure you make this program, this Christmas season, the most spiritual time of your lives. Make it the best Christmas ever. Read the scriptures with your family. Make sure your children and grandchildren understand the scriptures and what it's all about the birth of the Savior and the life of Christ. Make sure they understand. Third, make it a preparedness Christmas. Make it a preparedness Christmas. If you're giving gifts, make them a preparedness Christmas gift. Whether they're handmade or whether you buy them. Give gifts of preparedness so each and every one of us and our family members are prepared. I'm asking you to do this to bless your own lives. The Lord loves us. The Lord wants us to be with Him. Only those people that are ready, only those people that are prepared are going to enter at the straight and narrow gate. The Lord tells us in the scriptures, straight is the way and narrow is the gate, leading to salvation. Each of us must be worthy to enter back into our Heavenly Father's kingdom. I want to be there. I want to be there with you. More than anything in the world, I want to be there with you all. I want to see you there. I ask now for the Lord to bless you. Bless you with the things that you need. Bless you that you might have the spirit of thanksgiving and the real Christmas season, what the real Christmas season is about. May God bless us to this end. May it be the best Christmas ever. May it be the best Christmas ever. And hopefully bring in a good, prosperous new year. That's what we're talking about. That's what we need to have happen in our lives. Let's take back our lives. Let's take back our cities, our towns, and our countries. We can do it, brothers and sisters. Let's surround ourselves with good, faithful people, like-minded, faithful people. Now, guys, I know it's late. It's after 9 p.m. I ask the Lord to bless you this night. I ask Him to be with you. I love you very much. I love you so very much. Knowing what I know about the gospel, I am constantly wanting to share it with all of you. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night, brothers and sisters. If anything else happens, we'll be back here to talk about it and be with you as soon as the information becomes available. We will be back on the air, hopefully closer to 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Have a good night, guys. God bless you. God be with you till we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody.